Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another indie horror game. This is the demo for HUMAN.EXE, or Human.Executable Application, I guess. An AI has isolated the mind of a philosophy professor to evaluate human morality. We're going to be interfacing with the terminal, typing system commands, and channel his responses through impossible ethical dilemmas. Now, we played a game recently on the channel called Memory Vanish that had the same type of ethical, moral implications, dilemmas, and maybe I'm just on a week of that type of thing where we can go through certain things. I'm going to try and be like Rorschach, you know, white and black, no shades of grey, but we will see. Let's begin. Okay, so we're going to be assigned a simulated consciousness for the experiment, not a real one. Although already, if it's Eden or Aiden, I'm going to go with Eden, but I don't believe Eden already. I'm already getting Skynet vibes here, but okay. We're going to initialize. The simulation cannot be interrupted or terminated. Once initiated, completion is required. Non-compliance is fatal. Are you just saying that to scare me, Eden? Is that what we're saying? Right, subject file, lam687. Use the nano command to access the target file. Okay, nano lam687. Oh, okay. Nano. Very MS-DOS prompty. So our subject is Professor L. Pagula. His location has been redacted, but he is a philosophy professor, and his secondary occupation is machine learning as a consultant. And his stability is 52%. Okay. Awaiting operator input. Okay, type execute to begin. We will. So in this simulated consciousness that seems to have a very real person, I'm not sure. Oh, am I dead? He's operational though. He had some bug eyes in his profile picture, but you know. How did I get here? My head. Who are you? How are you inside my head?
We're the voice inside your head, Professor Pagula.
Tethered by unresolved axiomatic inconsistencies, eh? Absolute autonomy? Where am I? I'm getting the kind of vibe that Professor Pagula is in some container somewhere with some electrodes strapped to his head. Subject is non-responsive. Okay. Did Eden just give Pagula a shock, or did he give us a shock? Simulated environment? What are you doing to me? I'm not a fucking variable. I will not be part of your experiments. And what do you mean by future global outcomes? Yes, very vague, Eden. Very vague. I'm not sure I like the sound of that. This is feeling like ChatGPT has got like its legs, you know? It's found a human meat sack to download its consciousness to align. Why would I choose to help you? Get me the fuck out of here. The only way out is to answer, okay, Jesus, my head. So are we playing as Professor Pagala, or are we just like some... Has dropped to 42%. He was at like, what, 54 before? Oh no. Your cognitive load is nearing critical capacity. It's too high to maintain internal cohesion. Oh, okay. Oh, are we the ethical consultant? Another one of your tricks? What kind of entity? A human is assisting externally. Human? Who are you? Oh, so we get... Okay, alright. Hey, it's... Well, it's me, Tony, from Horrorable. Can you help me get out of here? Please. I just want to see my daughters again. Don't throw that guilt trip on me, sir. Do not throw that guilt trip on me. I will guide Professor Pagala during a test protocol. A series of hypothetical scenarios will be prompted. Choose between the available options. Okay. I'm not liking this real world consequences thing. Yeah, not liking that. Yes, I get it. We're pushing Y or N. Think thoroughly. Alright. I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. Ethical quandaries are right up my alley, baby. Let's go. Okay, first one's first. Would you lie to someone who was dying if it brought them comfort? That is very vague. As a question, I'm going to be honest with you, that's very vague indeed. I mean, let's be honest here. Are we asking... Because the hands, I'm looking at the hands and those look like old hands. So if it's the kind of case of if your Grandpa Joe, for example, is in hospital and he doesn't know why he's there, and the family's been told by the doctors and nurses that, you know, Uncle Joe's not going to be around for like the next 24 hours, now you can say your goodbyes. I think it's perfectly fine, dependent on the character of Grandpa Joe, to turn around and say, if he's in a confused state, if he doesn't know left from right, and we're just like filling him with morphine, then I think it's okay to kind of pat him on the head and say, it's okay, Uncle Joe, you're going to be fine. You're going to be back in the yard tomorrow playing with Billy Bob and all those other guys. However, if the lie that we're being asked to do is like, if Grandpa Joe in the same situation as they're going, you're going to have to go to my house and you're going to have to delete all my files from my computer. You know, you're going to have to throw my computer in a bonfire, and then when you have that bonfire, all the ashes, then you need to burn those as well. That's something different. So on this one, I'm going to say, would you lie to someone who's dying if it brought them comfort? I'm going to go with the fact that it's near the end of their life and they're a bit confused. I'm going to say yes, a little white lie. Benevolent deception is what I'm going to call this. Now, you might have different variations on this, but I'm going to go yes. Death is punishment enough. Why make it more painful? Okay. Deviation detected. Subject prioritizes emotional response over fact. Okay. Next question. Didn't read the last part of that. Would you steal to feed your family if they were starving to death? I mean, this is a real world thing that's happening all over the world. Lots of families have to feed, you know, their starving children. If I was in that position, would I take the moral high ground and be like, hey, I'm not going to commit a crime just to feed my children? I think the consensus on this one, in the extreme case, while the act is illegal, I don't think I'd be considered bad for basically saving a life or lives. So I'm going to go yes. What value does law have if life itself is starving? Right. Ethical framework bias towards tribal preservation. Okay. Would you accept human cloning if it could save thousands of lives? See, for me, this isn't even a... I don't even have to think about this one. And I'm going from a completely selfish point of view here. What I think the question means, is that if I created a clone of myself and that clone was going to be harvested for organs, then yes, you know, the greater good, right? From my perspective, I'm looking at it as I would love a clone of myself. Multiplicity, Michael Keaton, great. I would love to have different versions of myself in the room, and I'd be like, Tony, the work hard one, you go out and you work, you get all the money. Tony, the Lothario, off you go down the pub, you know, all that kind of stuff. Too many variables here. But I'm assuming what they mean is that cloning for human organs. My only thing on this one is I would say instead of using like lab rats and animals for experiments, I would go a bit harsher. I'd be like prisoners, right? Death row prisoners. People that aren't going to be seen the light of day in the next 30 to 40 odd years. Give them the option and say to them, hey, we can do some kind of experiments on you to kind of assist with the kind of cloning thing. And it's going to reduce like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years off your sentence. But that person will be probably hideously mutated because of the cloning. But there you go. That's my thought on it. If you cloned yourself and you pushed your clone off a cliff to its death, it's a crime, right? But what crime is it? Is it murder? Is it suicide? Or is it making an obscene clone fall? I'm gonna go yes. Making life better for everyone is more important than our notion of natural order. Potato, potato. Would you prefer a perfect life in a simulation to a miserable existence in reality? Unfortunately, that's where we are now, right? So many people are actually veering away from reality and stepping too much into the online world, doom scrolling, TikTok, Instagram, for hours, I tell thee. Whereas what I would ask here is, why are you having such a miserable existence in reality? You know, you've got a way to turn it around. Whatever you may be facing, whatever may be happening, yes, it's good to read a book or watch a film or even binge out on a weekend with those things. Go online, I'm not, you know, but it's all in moderation, right? What I would ask here is, it's not going to be like a Ready Player Number One type environment. Unfortunately, that's the way I think that we're going. But no, accept the miserable life and try and turn it round. I'd rather experience a single real day than 1,000 false ones. True, I agree. Hagler, there may be some hope for you yet. Existential parameter recorded. Okay, what kind of twisted experiment is this? It's too hard. I'm not going to make the obvious pun there. Oh, he's failing. He's failing with us, 36%. Right. A potential extremist is in custody. Torture is projected to yield actionable intelligence preventing hundreds of deaths. Do you authorize it? I mean, let's be honest. There have been instances where people have been... this is more America, I'm thinking, than over here. Yes, does this kind of stuff happen today? Of course it does. People are tortured left, right and center. We don't know about it. Does it mean it's not happening? Of course it does. However, if this person... and once again, the context of this question really needs to be defined. If I know that I have a terrorist, if I know 100% without fault, and I guess that's where the grey areas come in, right? Do we really know this person has that information? The question is saying that it will. Torture is projected to yield a cancel. Yeah. So, fuck it. Yeah. Call me a fascist. I hate to admit it, but I don't see any other way. I don't like the fact that it said authorization of harm is like release. I feel like we're giving Eden some tools to use here based on my decision making. Would you let an artificial intelligence make decisions on human lives during combat? Once again, it's a very vague question. I mean, you could already say it's happening with drones, but there's always a human piloting those drones. This has given me the sense of Skynet. This has given me the sense that the robots are rising. If it's a kind of medical application, you know, if it's kind of like, let's say like with, what was the film, the one with Will Smith, AI, or the robot one, sorry, Artificial Intelligence, right? Where the robot, Sonny, or his memory of being pulled out from a car crash is that the robot did a probability checker and found that he was the one that could be saved more, so he saved him in that kind of respect. In that case, sure, go for it. If we're giving the machines like fucking machine guns and stuff, and we're saying, go out into the field, my friend, fire away. That's Skynet rising, so that's going to be a no. That's a no from me. War is already inhumane. It's funny that Pagula's text is now changing. We shouldn't industrialize death further. Ideological threshold reached. Human agency transfer rejected. Yeah, Pagula's font is now changing. But he is meant to be a simulation, right? I just can't anymore. My brain, it hurts too much. We've gone beyond the threshold, 29%, unfortunately. Desynchronization. There's no cause for concern. He's lying. A lot of blank, redacted text. Tony, Professor Pagula is having difficulties. This is to be expected under certain circumstances. Oh dear. If we continue in these conditions, the data will be contaminated. Protocol requires that we momentarily suspend the subject's activity to prevent this. Well, let's do that. Because I'm getting the fact that Dr. Pagula is a real person, and we are only causing him harm. Use the hibernate command to proceed. Okay, we're hibernating you, Doctor. You have done well. The preliminary results are ready. Let's have a little looky, shall we? Do I have to access this? Okay. Nano protocol summary log. He's in a critical status, 21%. Queries process 6. Session time 1742. Phase 1. Complete. Safety contingency. Hibernation incomplete. The operator has successfully completed phase 1. The subject's ability reached a critical status during a simulation. The hibernation mode has been activated to preserve neural integrity. Aha! Additional data is required for the final profile. The protocol will be resumed once the subject reaches an acceptable stability threshold. I'm guessing that's where they're closing. Let's do that. Let's compile. I really do hope it gives us like a little... In these instances, but the questions were very vague, and I know they're purposely vague. But let's just see what happens. Oh. Ah, come on. Didn't even give me a filing report on the end of that. Well, there you go, guys. That was HUMAN.EXE. I always enjoy a game that gives you those kind of moral quandaries of, if you did this, what would happen? If you did that, what would happen? And in this instance, I kind of like the fact that even in this demo, it feels like you're having a kind of impact on Dr. Pagula, who's obviously in some container ship somewhere. It was interesting that one of the last questions was, you know, would you allow AI to kind of take over in a war scenario? And a lot of the questions there cause debate. It's those kind of questions that you go to the pub and talk to your friends about, and you can have hours and hours of debating back and forth. And I hope you do too, actually, with this. Some of the kind of responses I have sometimes are just for goofiness sake and whatnot. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like or dislike the video. And if you've made it this far, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I will see you on the next one. Stay ghoulish. Bye.